Helping you find great things to see and do in the Greater Blue Mountains, this is the Ask Ros Blue Mountains podcast.
Welcome to episode 20 of the Ask Ros Blue Mountains podcast. In this episode, I speak with Lee Mitchell, who is a committee member and assistant curator for the upcoming Blue Fringe Art Exhibition. I started by asking Lee, you are a real Blue Fringe success story. Can you tell us a bit about your journey?
Well, I first entered Blue Fringe in 2016, and it completely changed my life. At the time, I was in my early 40s, and I wasn't an artist. I couldn't paint. I hadn't drawn in 30 years. I had no idea about sculpture. I just moved up from Sydney, and actually, when I think about it, I was probably in quite a deep depression at the time. But my wife heard about this Blue Fringe Arts Awards, and so she said, give it a try. And I'd done little scribbles and collections of words that I didn't dare show people. But, I put something together just out of kids' building blocks that I'd found at a garage sale. And I entered it into the competition. And I went along on the Saturday for the judging. And somehow I won People's Choice Award. And it was quite amazing because that was the first piece of art that I've ever made. And I saw that people responded to it, and I it's not the Archibalds, but I just thought, wow, people like what I've done, and it's the first time they've made something. So I think that night I started thinking about 2017, and then ever since I've entered. So I've just sort of taught myself as I went, basically. So I took some photos and I wrote some poems and made some sculptures, and it's been amazing.
It's a wonderful opportunity for people who, as you've described there, who don't necessarily have a history in art to really get into it. We should mention here, by the way, that the Blue Fringe Arts Exhibition celebrates the creativity of people who have lived and experienced with mental health illness. So it's a narrow market in the sense that it's not everybody, but it's a great outlet for people who do have that to experience something new.
Yeah, for sure. And it's quite amazing because if you look at the history of art or the history of humanity, I mean, there's some of the greats were had fought with mental illness. I mean, Van Gogh, Picasso, Hemingway, Beethoven, Mozart, all these people had mental problems. And I think it sort of goes hand in hand sometimes. The creativity comes with that sort of mental illness, but also sometimes there's a bit of a lack of confidence that can happen as well. And so Blue Fringe is ideal because it's they accept all the work, everything is accepted, everything is shown, and there's hundreds of different types. I mean the variety is just amazing. If you go to a normal gallery, a lot of the stuff is kind of similar, but the Blue Fringe, you really never know what you're going to get, which is fascinating. I've made some amazing friends through Blue Fringe, and I've seen some of their work, and it's pretty exciting. I think every year you see people and their ambitions. Each year, people's ambitions get bigger and bigger and bigger, and the work just gets better and better. And on the days leading up to the award, when we unpack the award and we start curating, it's just such a joy because you unwrap the artworks and you have no idea what you're going to get.
Do you get many things where you've put it up the wrong way around?
I think it has happened before, yeah. Yep.
I think that's just, unless you're in the person's mind where you can see their vision, I guess with some people it could be a little bit difficult.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
How many artists are involved?
There's hundreds, really. There's hundreds, and you can enter into multiple categories. There's sculpture, textiles, painting, photography, literature. There's also youth awards, and I've got friends that really try and enter into every part of the exhibition.
Do you see the exhibition as really a form of therapy?
Oh, for sure, definitely, yeah. I mean, Blue Fringe works with a lot of community centres in the mountains, and art therapy is quite a amazing for people with a lived experience of mental illness, because mental illness, it really you can really feel alone with a mental illness. You really feel like no one else in the world is going through what you're going through. But when you create something, no matter whether it's epic or whether it's just a small poem or a sketch, and you have the courage to show someone that, you see other people respond to that, and you respond to other people's work. I think from that there's a real community that grows from Blue Fringe. I mean, I can't go to Woolies now without bumping into someone from Blue Fringe, and you talk about what you're doing, or you go to an op shop and you see someone who's searching for a special thing. It's a really great way of building community.
That's wonderful. It's probably a sign of our times now, thankfully, that mental illness no longer has a stigma, that it's now seen as something that's within the community and needs assistance. And things like the walk and talk movement, that's bringing it forward to provide assistance so people don't have to be alone.
Yeah, I think people with mental illness have so much to offer. I mean, as I said before, there's some Isaac Newton, Winston Churchill, Abe Lincoln, they all fought with mental illness. And when you go to Blue Fringe and you talk to people, you realize that it's not something to be ashamed of. I mean, I'm bipolar, and I'm quite proud of that. I think I'm in good company.
Well, I think when you go to Blue Fringe, and I've got to be honest and say we've promoted Blue Fringe for some years, but 2 years ago I went there for the first time, and what struck me, I should say, was that I wasn't looking at something and then making a judgment about the person who did it. I'm thinking more of did I like it or not like it?
Oh yeah, and I think art at its best, it's a very generous thing, because you see people who I have friends who spend, I mean, they really think about it all year now, and I certainly think about it all year, and it's just a great image to think that all these people are at home and they're telling their stories, they're investing a lot of their energy, and they're showing bravery and courage to tell their stories, which are pretty tough stories sometimes. But I think sharing that is very important.
Lee, can the public vote on their favourite pieces?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there's a People's Choice Award. Yeah, I like I said, I won that in the first year, and that was the greatest encouragement I could ever hope for. That was wonderful.
That's awesome. Now, I should remind people, it's the Blue Fringe Art Exhibition for 2019. It's on at Blue Mountains TAFE at Wentworth Falls, which is near the Pie Shop. It's being put on by the Blue Fringe Arts, and they do some amazing things all year. And the cost is nothing, which is just amazing in itself. And certainly I would encourage everyone to take the time and duck down there. It's the very end of the TAFE when you drive in, so certainly go there if you can. You can check out this wonderful art exhibition by very talented artists between October 23rd and 25th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And Lee, I appreciate your time today, and I'll certainly be looking out for your work when I got there. Thank you again, Lee.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot.
Well, that's it for episode 20. Be sure to check out the Ask Roz website at askroz.com.au and our Facebook page, Ask Roz Blue Mountains. Thanks for listening.